Do. If you're in here, we're gonna start around 9, 10, maybe, depending on how many people join, or if many people join. In here, say something in the comments. You can let me know what you want to say, how you want to say it, when you want to say it, So I know actually people are here. What is that in the way? Oh my gosh. Let me see. Whatever. Actually, there we go. And also, if you're watching and you want to join in on the call, like join the Zoom call, I can send you the link. If not, then you can just say something in the comments because I kind of want to talk to myself. So, Oh, it's 9:10. If you're in the comments, say something so I can start because I don't want to just, what the heck was that? Yikes. Hey, he says something. Okay. What's up? It's your boy Kudu. And I'm here with nobody, of course, but yeah. So topic of today is the importance of role models. Now, I know that in this society as of right now, role models are very like underrated because nobody really looks at, the good role models. They look at the people that are getting the most likes and the most, what you call it, the people that are not, you're really not supposed to look up to, even though they're making it, you're not really supposed to look up to them because they're not good people in a way. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but you know what I mean. There's different ways of making it to success. There's the right way, and then there's ways that are not okay and are not like moral, but at the end of the day, you still make it. So the point is, the right way is not always the easiest way. So that's why the people usually go towards the wrong way. And so yeah, so I look at it as a role model as a person that's doing it the right way. What's up? What's up? Oh, what's up, Kobe? Yeah, I see a role model as a person that's doing it the right way and uplifting other people to come with them and join them in that right way. Whereas other people would just not give this sort of advice to make people, get on their level. Some people are selfish like that, and I don't consider those as role models. And yeah, so I, for one, want to be a role model because I like giving advice to people. I might, I'm not going to say I'm the most perfect person because nobody's perfect. And I'm definitely not going to say I'm perfect, but like, I know what to say to help somebody do something. I'm like one of the best supporting people you can have because I know what to say. Even though I haven't been in that situation or whatever, I always know how to get out of the situation or how to help somebody get better. Maybe sometimes I don't, but it's rare. But it's I just like being that type of person. So when I do make it, I'll definitely be the type to show the right way of how to make, be successful and stuff like that. Hold on one second, one second. Where is it? There we go. But yeah, especially in the black community, we definitely need to look up to people. Not whereas, but like look up to people who are doing the right thing and making it, being successful black people, instead of just looking at the person down the street as a successful person, even though they didn't do anything for you or for their family, and they're selfish. And then when you ask for advice, they give you bad advice. And then when you get into a situation, they don't want to help you get out of it, type stuff. That's not necessarily a role model. That's a person that's just using you. So hold on, paste. But yeah, let me know if I said something wrong because I mean, everybody has their own definition of a role model. But I for one, see as a role model that's doing it, getting successful and doing the right thing the right way. Because once you do it the right way, the only backlash you can get is people being jealous of you or something like that, because you can't get arrested for, going to school and getting a degree, stuff like that, So hold on, there's a lot of stuff happening right now. But yeah. Um, I basically just ended the video in like 10 minutes. um, yeah, so in the comments, just say something so I can go off of that, because I don't want to be rambling, There's only so much you can say. Yeah. So definitely, yeah, when you look up to people that are doing it the right way, that like it makes you feel better as a person because you're doing the right thing, and eventually you can pass that on to other people, and you can just lead people in the right path, rather, whereas you take that advice and you're selfish with it, and you don't want to give it out because you got it hard or something like that. Or a lot of people do that, whereas like they get advice, they become successful, and they don't want to pass on the information because they don't want to see another person as successful as them. They want to be the person, that's successful on their own type stuff. What's up, DJ?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's good, fam?
Oh, thank you, man, because I'm over here struggling.
I got you. I got you. All right.
Yeah,
So topic is role model, right?
yeah.
Okay. Man, I'm tired. So the biggest thing when it comes to the whole role model thing is that you become a role model, never of your own power.
Mm,
This is why they society tends to label artists and things like that, people, famous people, as role models, because they're not asking to be role models. They always say like, "I didn't ask to be a role model." It's the influence alone
mm,
that makes one a role model. Now, in regards to role model, of course, it's not really about somebody who supports you. It's more about somebody you yourself wants to be,
yeah.
right? Hell, oftentimes, and you can look this into gangs and stuff like that. There are role models when people don't have like representation in their own life about, like, let's say a man. If they can't find what a man is, they go seek that out, right?
Mm,
And the person that's closely related to what the ideal man is going to be that role model, somebody they're going to strive to be, right? Now, will they want to be them, like in like exactly like them? No, right? Like, no, but it's the what's the word? Uh, it begins with an I.
Did you say it already? Is it influence?
Idolization.
I, yeah,
Some
idolization.
about idol, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's basically that makes them want to be this person, as if this a different level to living. There's where we are, and there's where that person is, right? We tend to view that person as a holier than thou person. So what they say may hold a ton of a lot more power than anybody, even a coworker, if there's anything. The role model tends to hold a lot of power because you're striving to be them. You're striving to follow what they do, right? Who they are. And again, they're not going to be perfect, but
right.
they're basically what represents your ideal person that you want to be.
That's true. And when I was going on, like I was saying, like there's some people that how they have people that follow them, like the ones you're talking about, the ones that see them as the best version of that gender or person they want to be, stuff like that. Some of the people that are at the top usually don't want to, help.
I
But
just seen it on YouTube. I'm like, what the fuck? Huh.
yeah,
Right.
but some people just don't want to, like, it's not that they have to help or like they're supposed to like give great advice, like their whole step-by-step advice. Some people are just selfish to the point where it's like they don't even give them anything. Like, even it doesn't even have to be like a celebrity. It could just be like a person in your family or somebody you just met, and then like they're like a teacher or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes teachers, majority of the time, teachers would be like, "Oh, you do this, and you can make it." Da da da. Whereas other teachers or like other people would just be like, "Oh, you got to figure that on your own," type stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like the good role models are the ones that like give you at least a piece of themselves or what they've been through, so you can have an understanding of how to get to the, you know, because not everybody's stuff is documented.
Yeah.
So
I
so
get that. I get that. But then it that right there relates to how you raise like somebody or mentor somebody, right?
yeah.
The biggest example nowadays that's happening is, of course, the LeBron versus Kobe and Michael fiasco, in which they say LeBron's the type that'll hold your hand and go, let's go together, while
Mm,
NJ's the type that you better be stronger so we can go. Right? You know what I mean? So it depends on the person, right? For example, Steve Kerr, Scottie Pippen, those two flourished, right? Because MJ beat their ass, right? Like he whooped
yeah.
their ass. But then you have Kwame Brown, who was mentally destroyed from
Hmm.
that same teaching, right? Now, does that make Michael Jordan a bad role model or a bad coach or a bad mentor or anything like that? No.
He
The
just has a different
mentor
way of doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. The mentor is always based off the student. The teacher is always based off the student. The student's always based off the teacher, right? If a teacher cannot get through to the student, that's the wrong teacher for that student,
Hmm.
right? It's the same as in class. You will have kids that know what's going on and feel like, oh, they're learning so much, and you're gonna have kids that's like, yo, I don't understand what he's saying, or I don't know what's going on, and everything like that. And does that make the teacher bad? No, right? But this is why it's always a partnership between mentor and student. Now, in regards to role models, I do believe no matter what, you will always end up with a role model. No matter what you do in life, you're gonna always end up with a role model because no matter what happens, you're going to always have someone, whether it's in a magazine, whether it's next door, whether it's in your own house, whether it's a classmate, you're gonna have somebody that you're gonna strive to either be or be better than,
Yeah.
right? And this is where I feel like a lot of people end up messing up though, because even though they see their role model in one way, they tend to ignore certain things about their role model that's not really good, right?
Hmm.
For example, my role model is my grandfather, right? Now, the difference between me and him is he, when growing up, was an angry one. You know what I mean? Like listen, I got my butt whooped every week, bro. Like it was crazy. Now, would I will I want to do that? No, no. But that's something about him that I know of, right? But meanwhile, you have other people, let's say that their role model, I don't know, is Chris Brown, I guess, right? Like let's just put Chris Brown. It's like, yeah, Chris Brown can dance, he can sing, you can get any girl he want. And it's like, so you're gonna ignore that he beat up a woman, right?
Mm.
And it's like, oh, yeah, but I was only one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
They're trying to justify it because of all the good he does.
exactly. So I feel like if you're gonna have a role model, you have to always look at the whole picture of the role model, or else you're gonna be exactly like them and ignore all the bad things about
That's true.
them.
That's why it's not it's necessarily better to be better than the person you're looking after, because once you're better than them, then you can cancel out their flaws.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all
This
about
that
learning.
that's yeah, it's just like parenthood. Like if you have a parent, your parents, or like if you're a parent, you would always want your kid to be better than you. No matter how much money you made, or you always want them to piggyback, not piggyback, but like take what you had and double it or triple it, whatever they can do with it.
Yep.
Because yeah, that's the yeah.
So growing up, right? And Keith, you know this, right? We had all the kids in the neighborhood, bro. And one of the biggest things in our neighborhood was basically by the time you were like 13, 15, around that time. This is when you start getting, noticed by gangs. This is when you start smoking and drinking on the side because your friends are doing it and everything like that. So me and my boy Artie, we made it a mission.
Heroes.
Yes, sir. We made it a mission to make sure these kids didn't feel like this is the path they had to go on.
Hmm.
And I ain't gonna lie, we kind of failed. We kind of failed because we had to go off to college. When we went off to college, the influence, it left a hole. So that means somebody else can now be an influence to them. And years of like making sure they don't go down that path. It just happened that in the time that we left for college, these dudes were entering 15, 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? So when that happened, and as you know, you start to get more exposure to the world. Right. This is when you start to go out more. This is when like your
Yeah,
friends are going downtown, so you go downtown. That
staying
kind of
out
thing.
late and all that stuff.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's shown how with one role model that certain things can happen and certain things are limited, but then you leave that gap and it will seek out another role model and then emulate that person.
Hmm.
So I feel like when it comes to age as well, I think age is a huge part of it in
Absolutely.
regards to uh, how impactful that status is to a person. Because I think, in my honest opinion, I think having a role model at 16 to 18 is better than having a role model at 11, 5, 6, 7. Because, as you know, a lot of us wanted to be firefighters and policemen and stuff like that growing up.
Yeah,
And then we hit 13 and we're like,
I don't do that no more.
I ain't getting shot. I ain't about to put out no fires and nothing like that.
Yeah,
Right. All them people that used to visit schools, like I'm a lieutenant. Da, 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 da. It's like, as a kid, it's like, oh my god, right? But then as a teenager, you're like,
yeah. You come to the realization that it's like that's just glorified. It's not showing the bad.
exactly. So I want to say make sure because it's not something you an outside perspective can control. But I would say advise those with kids growing up and things like that to make sure they have a positive influence around their child by the time they're 13 because that person is going to have a huge impact on how they start to develop into the adult world,
Right.
right? Because that's when they start to become more of themselves. So unless you have something or somebody good to look at you, right, to measure yourself up to by the time you're 18 or so, you're just grasping at straws. You're gonna guess at what an adult is rather than seeing what an adult is.
That is facts because especially in the black community, because like we don't. It's not shown. A lot of successful black people are not shown as much as
Nope.
successful like white people. So it's like the people around your neighborhood, since they probably didn't have like a great role model, so they just figured out their own way, and then everybody came together, and then that's the quote unquote good way. So like selling drugs, shooting up places, and all that crap.
Yeah.
That's going to become the norm of that neighborhood. And since a person doesn't have like a kid like 13, 14 doesn't have a role model that's like they actually know about to look up to that's been successful, they seek to ones that are closest to them, and then that's when they form themselves into that. And then and when you try to tell them that they're already too late because they've you know already imaged themselves after that person, if you want to say like so like yeah they're already in too deep. If
Yep.
I don't know why I'm having a hard time explaining this, but it's like it's so simple that it's hard to explain.
Because you're still I'll be straight up with you. You're still in that transition period where you're an adult now, but you're still a kid. So you may have people that may acknowledge who you are and strive to be more like you, right? But you're still trying to find yourself, right? So it's kind of like, hey, I'm on a journey, but these other people want to follow me, but I don't even know where I'm going. so so I could tell them, hey, I'm going this way, but at the same time, I can't tell you what's over there.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I'm
fair.
saying? Until you find yourself, I think that's when you can start more focusing on other people. I think we discussed this last week, where I think it was like something about you can't love other people unless you love yourself, that kind of thing, right? But I think the the biggest thing, especially with the Black community and role models, is that oftentimes the positive role models that we had in our community, especially as violence started to grow, they started to move out of it, right? And a lot of people was like, why y'all moving out? Y'all should be teaching the kids and da da da. Listen, shut up, because look, even when I came out, look, when I first started to go to college, I thought to myself, bro, I thought to myself, I was like, yo, I'm about to be better. I want to say better. Nah, fuck that. I'm about to be better than the people that was out here trying to get me to do other stuff. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be better than them. I'm gonna be more influential and things like that. However, I don't want to get shot. I don't want to go to school for 4 or 5 years and then come back get shot because I look like somebody. Like
Yeah.
I ain't trying to do that. So what's the logical thing? Move to a nicer neighborhood, right? That's the most logical thing. People think it's like, oh, you're giving up on community. No, it's that after I went through all that, I don't want to end up a statistic,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't want to do all that hard work just to have it end because this street is fighting this street and I just so happen to walk by. You know what I'm saying? Now you're gonna get violence no matter where you go. But we all know.
Where it's higher and where it's lower.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I do call that out though, because I do say we need more influences in regards to our community, but at the same time, our community has to do something about the potential dangers that it has, or else you're gonna have all these people who are role models growing up gone.
Yeah, and they don't want to come back.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're starting to now,
Yeah.
gentrification and all that stuff, right? But they're starting to now the city's turning into the suburbs and the suburbs is turning into the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of people, on top of that, moving out is because when you try to give advice to people, sometimes they either like take it as you're disrespecting their lifestyle or something like that. So they'll never like see the bigger picture. They'll just react off emotion. And so once that happens, then they can start getting violent and stuff like that, or they'll just be ignorant to the fact that I just told you how to get money this and this way, and you chose that and that way, and then now you're in jail and stuff like that. I told you, and you chose your path. You can't get mad at me for that type of stuff. So it's like that's why people feel like they would come back and then waste their time.
Hanging with Abe, definitely role models are
Oh
so
yeah,
important in life.
that's my old dean from my high school.
Oh, hello, Dean. Hello, old Dean. Wait,
Yeah,
from City on the Hill.
from City on the Hill.
Okay, yo, listen, Dean, you should hire me as a track coach, fam. No, I'm playing. Don't do it. No, I'm too lazy.
Oh no, you don't even work there no more. No, nah. Ain't nobody want to work there no more. So yeah.
But look, listen. I can even identify the people that I idolized growing up outside of family, right? Of course, I have people inside of family that I would love to be like as I grow up, but a lot of people, some people don't have that. Some people don't have that role model in their family that
Mm.
they would ideally want to be. So I can honestly tell you this: growing up, I had an assistant principal named Mr. Johnson. He actually lives down the street from me now. Um, Anytime something happened, he would always check on me, right? He always say, you know, these kids do this, make sure you do this, make sure you go up right. Da, da, da. He was the one telling me, the first person to tell me that I can make it to college. I can be different from everybody else I'm with, right? He was the first one. Then the second one was a guy named Mr. Johnson. That's another Johnson. That's crazy. High school, right? He started to tell me like life is gonna hit you sometimes, right? And you just gotta make sure you keep going and keep going and keep going because the heartaches are gonna be temporary. They're gonna happen, but they're gonna be temporary. Then you had my eighth grade teacher, some seventh, eighth grade history teacher named Mr. Holmes, VFW. He hangs out with sometimes, and the one thing he always told me, he said, all because the crowd does things doesn't mean you got to. All right, and I'll be honest, this is the first teacher and probably the only teacher to call his students retarded. Right, I kid you not. I kid you not.
Oh
Listen,
shoot.
listen. I kid you not. That man can teach, but I'm telling you now, it was funny as hell when kids were like, kid you not, right? They would talk so loud, right? They'll talk so loud. We're trying to read a chapter. They don't got their books open, and he go, "What? Are you retarded?" And we're laughing. And then other times he was making like he would have me stay after a little bit, give me a little talk and things like that. And I see him sometimes now. I seen him for the first time in like 7 years last year, and he was shocked at like how much I accomplished. Right, so he's another one. And then I had my professor in college. This is why I got to stocks and trading. He was basically every single time I had class, I stayed after for about an hour before track practice, just talking with him. He's like, "This is the tips and tricks of this. This is how I made this. This is what you do with this." Da, da, da. And you know why he was teaching? Because it was fun for him. He was bored at home, right? Mind you, that man had enough money to retire 3 times, and he just said, "You know what? Economics teacher." And I'm sitting here like, what the hell? Why would you do that? And it's like, why not go for a job you have fun with?
That's true.
So from there, I was like, you know what, he's right. And he even told me, he was like, look, your degree that you're gonna get is kind of generalized, which is the business administration. He was the one to tell me you should get these minors, right? So it was accounting and communication. But then he also said, whatever job you go for, it doesn't have to be for that degree, right? You could do something that kind of relates to it, but not really. Just as long as it gets you in the door. From the time once you get into the door, it's all on you. It's not the
Right.
degree anymore, right? The power of the degree is just the key to the door. You walk in, that degree don't exist basically anymore, and now it's all on you and what you do and everything like that. You know.
It's funny because I was talking to my boss yesterday, my supervisor. Well, after we finished, like, so I'm a machine operator. So after we fin like shut down the machine and all that stuff, he took me for a walk and he started talking about college. And he was like, "I heard you're in college," and then I was just explaining to him like, "Yeah, I don't really. It's not like a my motivation gets lost throughout like halfway. So
Yep.
that's why it's like, dang, I can't really. I'm not really motivated to do it, even though I know the end goal and how possible like all the possibilities I can gain after it. It's just like throughout, it's just like I lose motivation. I don't know how to gain it back. And he was just telling me like, when you do that, when you make that excuse as a saying like school is not for you and stuff like that, then a lot of stuff you're saying you're not trying to like learn, like you're avoiding learning, and so that can affect you in multiple ways. And I was like, that's true, because like if I'm not trying to learn in school, then maybe I might not try to learn somewhere else that has like requires sort of schoolwork, like anything like a trade or something that involves school, like real estate. I might not like be motivated to do it, and it makes sense. I for one, I know like because I'm actually interested in real estate, so like it's the thing that interests me. School never really interests me, so I can
Mhm.
never like keep my attention on it. More like real estate, actually, I'm actually interested in doing it. Like when I do it, it like makes me, oh yeah, like I feel fun. It's like fun in a way.
Yeah.
So like I understand what he's saying. I don't know. It applies to me in a way, but like as of right now, not really. He was like, at the end of the day, it's best if you just like get it. So when you have it, you can do whatever. Because he's like 28, but he's a
Mhm.
supervisor, and he's telling me like, yeah, I'm the youngest supervisor here, and it's true. And this is all because he had a 4-year degree, and he was just talking to me about it. I wasn't expecting to talk about it, but he was just talking to me about it.
Mhm.
And like I'm the one that if I'm getting good advice, I'm gonna listen. So it's like it's yeah. So that happened, and then I started thinking about it. I mean, I know I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, school's not for me." I might give it a try again, but as of right now, I'm just gonna focus on real estate so I can get that done before I just like put both those things on my head, because then that's just gonna be a lot of, you know,
Yeah.
pressure.
Listen. I can honestly tell you school ain't for everybody. So
Yeah,
that's no question about. However, I do understand what he's saying because here's the issue. Like the thing that people think is the education of school that gets you learning and everything. No, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's what school teaches you socially, right? Because think about it. When you go to college, you are now in a I wouldn't say cesspool because that's stinky. You're in a mixing pot, right? Like you're in a pot full of different people from different backgrounds with different cultures, right? This is probably the most diverse thing you would ever experience, right? So you get to learn more socially, right?
Mm.
Do I think college is robbery? Yeah,
Yeah.
but but what it teaches you outside of the classroom is what I think was the most important. Now, with that being said, you will lose interest. Question is, do you keep going or not? Right?
Right.
Think about it. It took me 5 years to graduate. Why? Because my ass kept changing majors because I was not interested in other things. I mean, I was like, you know what I mean. So I came into college, criminal justice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thought it was gonna be fun. And you know the story. I got on my way to your house specifically. I got pulled over by the police because I matched a suspect, right? And all I did was because what I was wearing was all red, right? And you would think all red, that's gang affiliation. Little do you know, it was all college gear,
Gear, yeah.
right?
Like a
So,
tracksuit.
so the officer sees that. He sees that, and he goes, "You in college?" I said, "Yeah." From then on, it's like he flipped the script. He was just like, "You ain't a suspect no more." You know what I mean?
Mm.
And he starts having a discussion with me about my degree, what my major is, which was criminal justice. He said, "Don't go to school for that." I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Unless you're going in the FBI, don't do it. You could get that same police job with a GED. Don't waste
That's
your money."
yeah, that is true.
I was like, "What?" Boom. Next semester, I said, "Take me out of this. I'm not doing this no more." Right. So I get into psychology. Psychology, very interesting, right? I love psychology. Issue is you needed a master's degree at least to get a good job. So I'm like, oh damn, okay, can't do that then. Then I went to communications. I went to social media type, right? So learning the effects on social media, the history of social media, all that stuff. The pay is really low unless you work for a big
Big
organization,
company,
right?
yeah.
Right. So it's like, damn, can't do that. So I go into accounting. I
Yeah.
go into accounting. Accounting was easy, but guess what? I kept doing every class, falling asleep. Right. It was easy, but man, I just didn't like it. I was just like, damn, bro, this is just tired. I'm tired. So then after probably a good few weeks of talking with my advisor, we decided to try business out. And when I got into my business classes, one, they felt natural, right? But two is the fact that I was good at it, and it allowed me to try my innovation.
Right.
So it didn't have to be by the books. I was making up 30-page business plans in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And shit, I still got one of my business plans on file to get it's a way to get small colleges. It's a
Mm.
way to get them a lot more students and a lot more sponsorships. Right. And my boy told me to keep it because he doesn't want nobody stealing my idea.
That's
Right.
true.
But it's just more about the fact that all those times I grew to like something, then I didn't like it. Right? I just couldn't do it. And then in the real life, in the world, even in my job, there are certain things I just don't like. I'm just not interested in, but I gotta do it. So this is when you start to pick up habit, right? You got to make sure you don't pick up a habit of you being, just bored of something and just going,
No, to the next.
yeah. But at the same time, this is different. Real estate is good.
Mm.
Real estate is good. But this is why I say, and I told you this before, but having a degree just having a degree is going to put you above where you are now.
Right.
So you can be a real estate licensed agent and still have a degree. So that way, if you feel any time that you don't want to deal with real estate anymore, you have something to fall back on,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, that's
And
what he was saying to me too.
because a lot of people they'll tell you the truth, but they won't tell you the whole truth. You know what I mean? And that's another thing with role models that they got to do. But again, I think Auntie said it.
Yeah, I was about to get to the comments after the whole thing. After you, so yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you were a good role model. You was because everybody was cool with you. Everybody was cool with you. Um, I was talking about Mr. Roberts,
Okay.
and then my mom said also being a role model, you have to find yourself. Yeah, when she was talking about when we was saying that you have to know yourself before you could tell anybody how to do something because it's just like to find yourself, love yourself before you. Yeah, so yeah, you have to know what you're doing with your life before you start telling other people how to do stuff with their lives. I get that,
But
and then
that's the thing though, Auntie, is that again, role models don't become role models because they feel like being role models. They just become them.
the set examples.
Right. That's just it. All right, let's go with in the neighborhood, right? You see a guy with a nice car. I don't know what's a nice car nowadays. Like that's like fancy
Uh,
Tesla.
let's say Rolls,
Rolls
Rolls
Royce,
Royce.
maybe. All right. So you see a guy with a Rolls Royce. He has the nicest house in the neighborhood. Probably a good family. Got a basketball court in the back of his house or something, right? Right. And let's say he like throws neighborhood functions,
Block
right?
parties.
Block parties and things like that. And you're a regular, like you're always like with them, and you hang out with their family and things like that. For all you know, that man is winning in life. He's just like he's doing good. But then let's say behind the scenes, he still doesn't know what he's gonna do next year with that, or maybe he hasn't found himself, and these like luxuries are ways to make up for him not finding himself. You don't know those things, so but he's already become a role model to you, right?
Mm,
Because you're striving to be like him. Now those who become role models and then acknowledge that they're role models and then try to portray what people should do and things like that I agree with you with. If they don't know how to find themselves, they should not be giving advice to people who don't. You know what I'm saying? The blind leading the blind.
right.
Can't do that.
And did I complete my real estate studies? No, I'm still doing it, but it's just fun to me doing it. It's like throughout school, I can never like sit down and like be interested with the work. I know a lot of people in there sometimes will just be doing the work and find fun doing it. Yeah, but like I just couldn't find fun doing it, so I would just get distracted and stuff like that, or just but like real estate, even though it's like school work, it's like showing me something that I'm actually interested in doing. So it's like I guess it's basically just the content of the work because like I actually want to be a real estate agent and it's like doing real estate, figuring out. I never knew majority of the stuff I learned like a surveyor. I might have heard the word before, but actually knowing what it is, like a person that does a lot of math. I'm not doing that, but there's a lot of math, a lot of geometry, figuring out how big or how much land you're getting for that house and stuff like that's like I learned about that was it last week. Learned about that. I never knew about that. Now I know what that is, and I know I wouldn't be that, but I know what it is, and I know what they do, and that's the people you have to talk to before you even sell a house type stuff. So it's just like yeah, and then I'm trying to get into actual like commercial real estate because residential real estate is like house by house, but I'm trying to get to like multi houses, hotels, like bigger um areas, and that has less risk. So I'm not gonna explain too much, but it's just something I'm like actually interested in doing, and it's like I'm glad I found that being because I watch videos like YouTube videos, and I came across this guy called Manny. Have you heard of Manny Koshman?
Nah. Oh wait, I think I know Manny. I know Manny.
Yeah, the dude has like multiple cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking about commercial real estate, and he was explaining what he does and stuff like that. And he was talking to another guy. I forgot his name. I forgot his name. But yeah, him and they were discussing the difference between residential and commercial, and then that really caught my attention. So it's like then I talked to my mom, asked her if she had any friends doing real estate. One of them sent me a link to like a online class thing, and I started taking it. And it's like, especially since I paid for it, it's like okay, yeah, I definitely have to get into it. And then I'm glad I'm actually interested because it would have been a waste of money. But yeah.
Uh, my dad said, and I quote, "Me, Mama, and Jordan used to coach you too." Listen. Y'all talk too fast. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Y'all talk too fast. You know, the only thing you taught me how to do is talking really fast as if I'm going fast forward on the VHS tape. Okay. But nah, you guys did have a huge influence on us. I'm not gonna lie to you
Nah,
guys
I'm
about
not
that.
gonna cap.
You know what I'm saying? Auntie Georgette invented auntie jokes. It's pretty crazy. Mama created mama jokes. It's pretty funny. And then
Mm.
you just love to flip people's words into a joke. I don't.
He would
Jesus.
take like three words of what you said, and then put it in a joke and use it against you. But
What's
yeah,
up, this guy?
but yeah,
Like
no,
what? What is that? Like,
it's not a lie.
what the what is it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, he
but
was.
but no, and that's the other thing with role models is that it doesn't have to stick to a specific gender,
Mm,
right? You could just pick quality traits of people in your life that you just want to have. Now, unfortunately, I ended up picking my dad's feet because this man got flat feet, so size 13 flat feet, and now I got
oh
size
man.
13 flat feet. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, no, I strive to become like my dad. I strive to become like my grandfather. You know, I strive to become independent like auntie, and I strive to live long like mama. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? All those qualities is is huge to me, and that's one of the reasons why they are my biggest role models growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, my mom too. My mom tends to try to have fun as much as she can because life hit different. You know what I mean? So so finding a good balance between fun and your personal life is huge.
that's
You
yeah,
know,
that's key.
and
If
that
you can't
is
do that, then you're gonna waste your life having fun or waste your life not having fun. So you gotta find
yeah.
the balance.
That's it. You know, but let me tell you something. The biggest thing that they taught me is that family is important.
Mm,
Family is hugely important. You know, up here in Boston, bro, you know, I have gramps, but when it comes to like immediate family, it's you and auntie. And that's it.
yeah, man,
That's it. You know what I mean?
man.
Like I mean I bet I have like random second cousins and third
That you haven't
third
met or still
uncles.
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
you
Yeah,
know what I mean? But me and Keith grew up together. You know what I'm saying? Like so even though he's my cousin, he's like a brother because we spent more time together than cousins should,
yeah,
basically.
most definitely,
Right? You know,
man.
and the biggest thing in my opinion though is that we were blessed to have positive role models. Role models aren't always positive though.
Mm,
That's also the biggest thing people got to realize is that you can have negative role models. Hell, you probably see the effect of negative role models in your daily life right now, right? Whether it's a spoiled personality that people picked up, whether it's but my dad did this and I do this thing, or my mom did this and I do this. Not every role model is a positive role model. Let's just be straight up. You know what I'm saying? The role model isn't a positive or negative thing. It depends on who it is.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
neutral.
that's all I'm saying. You just gotta, in my God honest opinion, you do have to pick your role models wisely, but I don't think you get that choice until you're about 18, 19, when you actually start thinking for yourself.
I was just about to say that until you can start actually thinking for yourself. Because around like 11, 12, you might see things and you might want to do them until you never really experienced life. Like, so you have like 5, 6, maybe 7 years of life that you haven't experienced yet. So all that stuff I don't want to say naive, but like you're ignorant to. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what's there and you're just going off what you see in front of you.
Yep.
And so life is bigger than everybody knows. Like I'm still going. I'm 21. I'm still going. But like I got like a fistful of life, but life is like a hug type stuff. Right now I'm still if you get what I'm saying, like I got a fistful. Like I understand a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff I haven't been through or understand yet. So
Yeah. It's just about exposure. There are people that people have experienced life by the time they're 16, while others haven't experienced life until they're 40. It's all relative. But at the end of the day, you still need quantity of experience, not just quality of experience.
Yeah.
Like you can speak on what's going on, but do you have the cognitive ability to make the right decisions with it? I definitely think that uh, between until you're 18, 19, if you ask why a person's your role model, until you're that age or around that mindset, you probably can't even understand why. You're gonna point out what they do rather than who they are.
Right.
Right. Meanwhile, when you turn 18, 19, 20, whatever, you're starting to realize who they are. And this is when people sometimes can change role models. Say, "Oh, this person's like hell." Actually, I got a good example on this. All of us have uncles and whatnot that every time we saw them, even family friends, every time we saw them, they gave us like $20 here, here's $20. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. All right. That's I want to be like them because they always got $20 and they're giving it to their right. Do you start to notice, let's say they're 20, 21, you're 21 and whatever, and you start to notice they have a severe anger problem, or they're a binge drinker, or they're not nice to other people, that kind of thing. Then you start to realize who they are, and it's like, oh, I don't think I want that to be my role model. I don't think I want to be like them. I kind of want to do what they did, but not be like them. So
Right.
then there's different levels to it.
Yeah, and then people, always like the majority of like the productive business owners are usually jerks, and people tend to like choose. There's two different types of a jerk, like, and people usually pick the wrong one. There's a productive jerk and there's an unproductive jerk. The unproductive jerk is like people that are just like doing it to get nowhere in life. They're just doing it cause. And then the productive ones is like doing it to make, like, for example, Michael Jordan. He's doing it to make you be better so then you can win. Whereas if he's just putting you down just to put you down, like that's an unproductive jerk. He's trying to make you better than what you came in as. That's the whole point of like a great teammate. So if you're trying to help somebody get better, you can be a jerk at like towards them as long as you're doing it so where it's like how they work. So if you say such and such like this, they won't sit there and cry. They're like, all right, I got you. But not everybody's like that. So yeah.
I mean, like with the whole Michael Jordan thing, it's just more like, what do you prefer? I always say this. The reason why I always say like people should get their kids into coaching early
Mm,
is because coaches aren't going to treat you like you're their kids. No, let me not say that.
not all.
Coaches are going to treat you like you're their kids, but they're not going to have a filter on like your parents,
Yeah.
right? Because they get to send you home 2 hours later. Right? Parents have to live with you,
Mm,
right? So when you yell, when your parents yell at you and stuff, and you cry, right? They gotta live with that. They gotta hear crying in their house, right? But when the coach yell at you and you cry, you taking laps and you going home,
yeah, you going
right?
home.
But it always depends on how you take in that coaching. I've always had positive coaching influences. Um, some of them basically just teach you that you got to follow directions. That's the first thing. You got to follow directions. But the other thing is like all because somebody's like screaming, and then there's a slippery slope. There's a slippery slope right here. But all
Mm,
because somebody's hard on you doesn't mean they don't care about you.
yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean they don't care about your feelings. Now, this does not go with those who are hard on you just to be hard on you, right? Those is called that's called torture. That's called mental abuse. That's different,
Unproductive jerk.
right? That's what it is. Right? It's not those people I'm talking about. It's people that are hard on you because the easy route you wasn't really getting. So they got to teach you the hard route. And then the hard route is to make sure you yourself is better, not better in regards to how they see you or how they or you treat them or anything like that. It's just in regards to make sure life is easier for you by yourself, right? This is why I have with the whole Jordan and LeBron thing. Jordan is going to beat you up to get you better. But when Jordan is gone, you're better.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's what it is. When
Yeah.
Jordan is gone, you're better. You're all that he built you up, right? It may not have been a nice way to do it, but he built you up to be able to sustain yourself on your own. Braun, on the other hand, has a different approach, which is take my hand, we're gonna go together.
And you see what happens when he's not playing.
Exactly. When Braun is gone, though, when LeBron is gone, them players regress because they weren't being supported to become better. They had somebody dragging them to the promised land, basically.
They was
So
on a
one
bike with training
person,
wheels.
there you go. One person beat you up so much that any animal you encounter in the jungle cannot match you. While the other person basically said, stand behind me, I'll protect you. So that means next time you go in that jungle and you don't got that person, what have you learned? Y'all
That's
gonna
true.
learn the damn thing. You know
You
what I'm
can only
saying?
learn. That's what I'm saying. That's why there's a lot of people. That's the difference between how you learn. Like I'm more of a hands-on. You can show me anything. You can show me this like 4 times, but if I don't do it myself, I'm gonna mess up. I know that for a fact. Like I'm going to mess up. That's why I need to do it. You can explain to me. You can show me once, but then I got to do it the second time, and you can explain it through while I'm doing it, or I'll
Yep.
ask you questions. Because if I can do that like that, and say, okay, now I got the muscle memory. I know what I'm doing now. Right? I can just watch, and I might forget about it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
So,
just like watching a movie and then you forget some parts because it's a movie. You didn't go through them. Like you know what I mean. You just watch it and you just forget because you just watched it.
yeah, no doubt. Same way I was in the classroom. I people always and my grandfather especially was always like, yo, DJ, why don't you never do your homework? I ain't feel the need to. That's
That's
all it is.
exactly man. That's
I ain't
huge.
feeling that. I'm not saying kids go out there and not do your homework. But to
Mm.
me, homework was on when I look back at it, homework was honestly a waste of time. But again, I feel like see this, and this is my opinion. I feel like homework should be given to those who cannot learn in the classroom. That's what I think should be the case. Because I didn't learn from my homework,
No, I didn't either.
right? Anytime I took a test, I'm not remembering the homework. I'm remembering class, right? But other people may not flourish in class and flourish back at home. So homework, in my opinion, would help them more. Meanwhile, homework for me is taken away from my 5 o'clock cartoons, right? And I can't even watch the Disney Channel movie at 8 o'clock because I gotta do homework, and then
I
once
gotta
I'm
do.
done, I gotta go to bed. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you ain't
Like
lying.
so now my whole childhood is just gone, right? Because like think about this. And you know what's the worst part? We got up at for school at like 6.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let me tell you
5, 6,
something.
man.
Like 6 o'clock, we get up for school, right? We leave home like 7. We don't get home till like 5.
Yeah,
Right. Which
especially
means
if you
we
play
was
sports.
that means we were gone. A child, right? A young teenager was gone from the home for at least 12 hours. Mind you, adults work 8
Mm.
and they be tired. So how do you think we feel? Right? But let's not even talk about that. All right. Let's never talk about just that. Let's talk about the fact that once I get home, I got to do homework.
That's still
Right.
more. There's still more
So
stuff you just
you
try
know
to
what I'm
get out the
saying?
way.
So we got from so you see my day starts 6. I get home 5. Homework at 5. I'll probably finish about 6 or 7. Right. By the time it's 6 or 7, I got 1 hour of TV. Right. Next thing I know, I gotta prepare for tomorrow,
Mm.
and then go to sleep.
Mm.
Right. And we all know we ain't go to sleep. Right. We either have the TV on mute
Or you got your DS under your
or you
pillow.
got the DS or the SP under the pillow. Right. And then anytime you heard the footsteps,
Yep.
you just not, and that's it.
That's people don't understand where those memes come from, but that's what it is, really.
Let me tell you something to all you parents out there. Y'all created some sneaky children. That people wonder why everybody so sneaky. Y'all fault, not our fault.
We had to learn. We had to learn when and when not to get on the game, how high the volume got to be, all that stuff. But yeah, I see like homework for me. It was just like a thing I have to get out the way so I can have fun.
Yep,
It
that's it.
it was it's not even like an obstacle to get me better. It's just an obstacle for fun. And
Yep.
you don't. Some people necessarily don't pay attention to obstacles and what they can teach you. So like that basically, yeah. Homework was just practice. That's what it is.
And
But like,
you didn't even make sure the answers are right as long
yeah,
as you just did
you did it
it.
because then you'll never know until you go to school the next day. So you just write down whatever,
Yep.
and then you figure it out. Oh, it's wrong, and then the teacher will explain to you. That's how you would learn better because then they explain why it's wrong. Whereas
Yep.
you have to, oh, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm trying to figure out myself, and it's like I don't know. So yeah, I have to somebody has to show me, and then I'll do it myself. Whereas I just do it myself, and then if you get mad at me for doing it wrong, like what type stuff?
Yeah.
Not mad, but like
But no, back on the whole role model topic. I do suggest you guys, if you have the free time to do it, volunteer at a boys and girls club, like in an after school program and things like that. If you have the free time to do it, because when I say you can have a huge impact on these kids and guide them towards the right way, right? Because again, a lot of people don't realize it. These kids are watching us, right?
mm-hmm.
They're sponges. They soak up what's around them. So if you are able to be a role model to them to keep them out of trouble, then I suggest you do it. If you're somebody who complains that kids are bad and things like that, I'm telling you, go to a local boys and girls club, YMCA, and volunteer.
Take
I
action.
I used to do it for fun. I used to coach these kids at a small Catholic school during my college time. I would coach them in basketball, but we give them life lessons, right? We teach if they fought each other, they made sure we figure out why they were fighting, and oftentimes it was because he pushed me. And it was like, oh, okay, but you kind of have to guide them towards the right path and things like that. And it was mostly like 6 year olds, 7 year olds to 10 year olds, right? But that's the foundation years. That's the foundation years. What they tend to look at, that's what's happening, right? And it's a fun experience. You'd be surprised how much fun you have mentoring these kids, and it's definitely something to look forward to. Hell, if you're somebody who's retired, right, and you got nothing to do for the day, go to a local club. I'm telling you right now, go to a local club, sign up for the volunteer, help them with their homework. It, you,
Man,
it
nah,
has a huge impact.
for real. And so my uncle has this. Well, not my aunt, but like has this thing called BAM down here. And like 2 years ago, I came down here. I was working with kids, mind you. My patience level is it'd be crazy sometimes. Like I can have patience, but like once it's like broken, it's hard to come back. But like yeah, so I know people are gonna say, "Oh, I don't like kids," all that stuff. You'll kids will grow on you once you like actually like work with them longer. They'll start to like yeah, what you were saying. They'll start to like look up to you if you do things the right way. They'll start looking up to you, so they'll be easier to like teach and stuff. But
Yep.
once they first like meet you, they don't know you, so they don't know how you work, and then it's gonna act like they act like you don't know what you're doing. So once you show them the right way, and then they say, "Oh, I like what you're doing," they're gonna be more toler tolerable. To, to, they'll be easier to teach.
There you got me messing up now.
To-
Tolerable.
tolerable, yeah, they'll be more tolerable. You'll be able to like have more patience because they'll become like not a fully little you, but they'll be like a little you. They'll be wanting to learn how to be like you in a way, not fully because but like you know what I mean. They'll just try to. They see you doing it. Oh, I like what he's doing. I'm gonna do it, and then you can help them do it, and it'll be easier to teach somebody that's trying to do something that you're doing, whereas you try to teach them something they're not interested in. Same
Yeah.
thing with school. Like you can't teachers will get mad at a student for not being attentive in class, but like you know the kid doesn't find it interesting, so they're not gonna keep their attention on that for so long, type stuff. So it's like once you have something that's interesting and will have everybody who finds something interesting will try to gravitate towards that. If they don't find it interesting, they're just gonna brush it off or like pay attention a little bit just to say they did and then brush it off. So yeah, it's just make sure your content is interesting. Make sure you portray yourself as yourself, and then once you do that, then kids are gonna gravitate towards you if you're doing something good or if you're doing something they like, and then you'll have fun with kids. I didn't like kids, man. I didn't like them at all. I didn't like them kids at all. And then I started hanging out with them more and like playing basketball and all that stuff, doing stuff that I like doing
Yep.
and they like doing, and then I became cool with them. It's like not all of them though. Some of them are still like on their own thing, but like the ones, especially the ones that are actually under your wing, you can actually help them be better people when they grow up, type stuff. So
Like I said, you set the foundation,
yeah.
and the more they see you, the better, in my honest opinion, because they're gonna have what happens at home, and you don't know the home situation.
Yeah.
So They what I like some one of the counselors growing up when I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club is after school they always just made sure we had fun. Right? They always brought us to the pool, brought us to the game room. You know, any problems we had, they would help it. Any type of thing, right? And one of the biggest things, in my opinion, was that you should always create an environment in which the kids cannot wait to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Facts.
That's how it is. Because people don't realize it, but a kid at 8, 9 years old that had that experience of like that much fun, they're gonna remember that when they're 25 and 30. Right. They're gonna remember that, right? Especially the longer it is, right? If you do it, see, mine was a span of 2 months. 2 months, yeah. Mine was a span of 2 months. So if you have a kid do it for a year, imagine that.
Oh
Imagine
yeah,
the
you got me
impact that
telling these
has.
stories when you're like 50.
Shoot, man, I never forget the condos I had. Now I never forget that experience.
And it's funny because you don't even have to try to be a role model. Just gotta be yourself. And once you be yourself around the kids, I'm telling you, you're gonna have fun with them. It's like, oh, yo, like they can be like your little brother, little sister, like just because of how they look up to you. You
Yep.
just become that. Man, it's just you just gotta. I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, kids are not for me" and stuff like that. You'll never know until you try. So, like you were
Yep.
saying before, just like if you feel like you don't like how this generation's kids are coming up and all that stuff, just like show them how you were showed. You know, at least help the ones around your neighborhood, or like you can go out wherever you want, but like help the ones around your neighborhood so you know you got them secure too. You know, stuff like that. Man, I'm telling you, I did not like kids. Man, because it's just when they, especially when since you know how kids are so blunt, they're blunt, so they will say anything.
Yep. They'll say their mind. They'll speak their mind.
Yeah, they're not afraid to speak their mind because, like, one, they don't see you as a threat because, like, you know, they're just speaking it. I don't know. They just do it. I can't really speak for kids, but they just do it, and then everybody knows they do it. So it's your job to just like help them grow up, you know,
Yeah.
shape them. But yeah, we got 7 people watching. That's amazing. We have, at some point we had 10, but yeah, yeah. If people are watching, say something. You know, I mean, yeah.
So, all right. So here's my thing. Here's my thing. One thing we do have to call out. Actually, let me see this. Actually, let's get it popping. So everybody knows about Cardi B, right?
Oh man.
Now we know we know the music Cardi B makes. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But even Cardi B says she does not let her child listen to her music,
Mm-hmm.
which and as you know, she's a role model for a lot of females out there.
Thanks.
Why?
Because you're gonna say it.
No, no, I'm asking. I'm asking why because I want to get your opinion on it. But then I'm gonna say mine.
All right. So the music she necessarily like portrays is like just I don't want to say independent, but be independent type stuff. Get your money and get your guys' money type stuff. Show off your body parts. Basically, yeah, just love you can love yourself, but like love it so that everybody sees you loving yourself. That's
Okay.
what I get from it.
See, my whole thing, and it's something that a lot of people do. Right? You ever heard the term? Would you let your daughter or your son marry somebody like you or date somebody like you? Right?
Mm,
And if the answer is no, you already are not a good role model, right? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, and it's not calling out Cardi B or anything like that. It's just the situation. If Cardi B is literally out there saying, "I would not let my own daughter listen to what I listen to what I make," why would you guys let your daughters do it? You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm a role model for these said daughters,
Mm.
why would you let them listen to my music? My music ain't for them. So it's like, okay, Cardi, are you a role model because of who you are or for what you produce?
Right.
Right? Like that again, it's not on Cardi specifically, it's just using her situation. I feel that if you cannot be someone that others strive to be, right? And you contradict it by saying, if I was you, I wouldn't mess with me, that kind of thing, then you yourself are acknowledging not only are you a role model, but a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That you're just self-acknowledging that I am not a good role model.
Yeah,
But at
don't
the
look up
same
to me.
time, she pushes that she's a good role model. Right. And you see it all the time in like videos and stuff like that on the net that she pushes. This is a message to all you guys out there. You know what I mean? Like those are certain things I look at when it's like, I don't think you're a good role model. And we've seen the internet crucify those who literally say the same thing. Cardi B's not a good role model. You are canceled, sir. You are canceled. How dare you? How dare you
Facts.
say that? Like, no, they're just speaking on their name, bro. You know
She's
what I mean?
telling you that she's not a good role model, but at the same time, she's trying to make it so like she's looked at as a good person, but she's letting you know that my stuff is not for everybody type thing. Even though honestly, if you're not even gonna have your kids listening to your music, I mean, I understand like oh you have, like parents have control over what their kids
No,
do to a
no,
certain
they,
extent.
no, they
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, no, that's I'm just going off what she says.
Yeah,
Yeah, she said, "Oh, parents have control over the was basically so if you let your kid listen to music, you're a bad parent in a way."
and that to me is ignorance. That to me
Exactly.
is ignorance because all right, let's look at us. We grew up where YouTube started to become popular. Before that, YouTube was like cat videos and all that stuff
Funny falls and stuff like.
and that Numa, right? All that shit. So you had all that happening,
Mm,
and we were still listening to music that our parents didn't know, right? We either heard it at school, we saw it on TV on MTV,
mm,
right, or we had it on the phone or something like that. You know what I mean? Or it was on the radio, but we weren't with our parents on the radio. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Now you have, and mind you, we were still listening to music that we shouldn't listen to.
right.
Nowadays, every kid has a freaking tablet.
A tablet, an iPhone.
Everybody got something, smart TVs, YouTube, all that stuff, right?
Hmm. Alexa.
Saying that, oh, you parents control what your kids listen to is ignorance at best because you're failing to acknowledge how kids listen to you,
Exactly.
right? You think people are just like, let me listen to Cardi B. Let me make sure my mom's not around. No, they just go Cardi B whack, bro.
Yeah,
That's
for real.
it. That's
They
it.
don't. It's and I don't. She knows that when she was a kid, she probably listened to stuff and do the stuff that she wasn't supposed to, and her parents, like everybody knows when you're a kid and you find something out and you know it's not good, you're gonna do it when your parents are not paying attention. That's just common knowledge. That's not even something you gotta hide or anything. It's just like, okay, yeah, I've done such and such when I'm a kid, so you expect other people to do it. So when you sit here and say that other kids, it's the parents' responsibility to have their kids listen to stuff. Yeah, to a certain extent, they can't control everything because they're not with them all the time. So it's just like, yeah, they're gonna find a way to listen or do stuff that they're not supposed to. That's just how kids are.
Yep. Kids
So
are kids are made to go around their parents. That's it.
yeah, you can like show them like, oh, I can do this and you can do this instead of that, but it's what the kid's interested in. So it's like, and on top of that, school has a lot of bad influences from other little kids because they might find something and then they show their friends and then their friends get interested and stuff. So yeah, you learn majority of your bad stuff from friends at school.
Yep. And but that just goes into I already have a discussion with this on my other podcast. Is that between the ages, and this is opinionated, but it's something I noticed. Between the ages of 5 to about 11, Between the ages of 5 and 11, the household determines the mentality of the kid. When the kid starts to get exposed to the world, aka high school, this is around 12 to 13. When the kid starts to hang out more with these people, right? Because in middle school we ain't had no free periods and all that stuff. We class, home. Right? High school was class period, class, free time, class, free time, class, free time. Then maybe go home. Maybe. Right. Sometimes you go downtown or whatever, but maybe go home. This is when you start to see the kid venture from the house to life, right? To the friends. And this is where you already gave the kid the foundation. Now it's the friends' turn. Now it's what they're going to influence the kid to do. And if your foundation contradicts it, then the kid is going to be a middle ground, right? He's going to be able to determine which one's good or bad, right? But then come 18, this is when the kid leaves the friends and goes more into how life treats them. Because once you're 18, you're set up to be exposed to everything else. Taxes, you're exposed to bills, rule, all that other stuff in the world, right? Getting a job, you need to get a job, like need a job, right? So you have all that happening, and this is when the kid finally learns, okay, everything I was taught back then, I can now see what I can apply to now, right? But a lot of the things when it comes to bad influences happen this way. The foundation is set at home. Then the teenager meets with friends, and these friends are doing certain things that's not really good for that teenager. Right. This can be overwritten. The foundation can be overwritten, in my opinion, if the home is not a happy one. So even though you have a good foundation in what you're teachings, the teenager is more prone to follow where it's happiest.
Where they have the most fun and where the most freedom in a way.
Exactly. So, and it's not saying that the teenager needs to come from those like an abusive home. No. It just means the kid may not be happy at the home. Right? That doesn't mean the kid don't want to go home. It just means I have more fun with my friends than I do living in my own house. So I am more prone to do the things that are fun with my friends than I am safely at my house. And this is where you see the issue come in which, you know, parents start to act confused, like, it was such a good kid. I don't know where this happened. I don't know how this happened to me, how this happened to him, her, all that stuff. Like, I raised that kid nice and and you see it all over. You see it all over the news and everything. Like, I can't believe that.
He's not like that.
He's not like that. And then everybody in the whole neighborhood like, he like that. What you talking about? Like, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I look at parents when they do say those things, like, it was never like that. And I'm like, unless he had a psychotic break, he was like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, man.
Yeah, and on top of that, it also happens when like the kid doesn't not necessarily feel safe, but like doesn't feel like they can talk to their parents about stuff like that, because once that happens, once like they have no ability to trust their parents with that information, then they won't tell it, and that'll make them more sneaky. That'll make them more like prone to do things that they don't want to tell their parents and stuff like that. It's just that happens. So like if you're not willing to like listen to your kid, then it's like don't expect them to like not like you, you know, especially when they want to explain or express their feelings or emotions or experiences with you, and you just sit there and call them out on it and make fun of them about it, or like just don't even want to listen. And they're just not, one, they're not going to talk to you. Two, they're not going to tell you anything that they've been through. Say if they got like it was a shooting at some place, they don't want to tell you that because like you might say some, I don't know what you would say, but parents would know what they would say if that situation happened. Just some stuff that they don't want to tell you because that'll prevent them from having fun, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, when you were saying they would tend to staying around the friends that are having fun, they want to have fun so they can keep their friends, so they'll do things to keep them, even though it's not good for them. Like, for instance, dares and stuff like that. Oh, I dare you to do this. And if you want to keep them as a friend, you would do it. So they'll be like, oh, you're cool, all that stuff. So yeah, It's just they yeah. But luckily, I I am a whole completely different person. I won't. I would rather see. I'm glad my mom is the one that like I can talk to about stuff if something happened. I'm glad she's like that because I don't know where I would have been if that type of stuff happened. But I know. I mean, I know for a fact that I'm not like other kids. So it's like I can't. It's hard to speak for other kids. But I know for a fact I have a different mindset. I won't do such and such to keep a friend. If I know that it's not going to be beneficial to me or anything, I'm not going to keep you as a friend just because you're my friend. Like I'll be good. I'll be alright by myself type stuff. So it's like I'm different than I'm not. There's a lot of people like me, but I'm different from like you know I'm not a depending person.
I always say this: the situation is not new. The person is
Right.
right because, and it's just something a lot of people don't realize is everybody is unique, but not for what you think it is. Everybody is unique because you're a combination of everybody you've met in your life.
Right.
Everything from your laugh to your facial expression and everything comes from a combination of everybody you met in your life. And because of that, the odds of it happening is probably 1,000,000,000 to 1 of you meeting those exact people with those exact personalities in the exact situations to meet you in the exact time.
Mm.
This is not happening ever again, right? So, well, you can't say never because probability doesn't work that way, but it's like a 1 in 10 trillion, quadrillion chance, right?
Yeah.
Like by the time that happens again, the world will probably be about another trillion years old and blow up, right? But that's why it's unique. Now the situation is a repetition of what's been happening over in life, and the reason why it's a repetition is because it's generally the same thing,
Mm.
right? You could probably in like about a 10 to 20 year span find somebody who's been in the exact situation as you, but probably treated it differently because the personality again is unique, right? So same situation, different person, right? You put a crab in a bucket with other crabs, it's gonna climb down, right? But if you put a cat in a bucket with other cats, all of them are leaping out, right? Same situation, different animals, right?
Exactly.
Different results. So that's what I'm saying. Is it's like, I don't know. Make sure if you're at that age now, make sure you pick your role models wisely because a lot of them are going to lead you down a path, and you have to determine if that path is worth it or not.
Yeah, you gotta
Right?
look at the end goals rather than just like the nows.
Yeah, don't look at what they do. Look at who they are. Because
Right.
that's the bigger effect that's going to hit on you. Right? What they do is an action. Right? You can choose to do that whenever you want, but the person you choose to emulate is going to be based off personality, not their physical traits. Just remember that.
Right. And it's best to it's if you have multiple role models and then instead of replicating yourself after like their exact body, just like take parts like what you said, you take parts of specific people and make it to where it's like you make yourself your role model in a way where you have all these qualities from different people that you look up to. You take the good parts from them and build your own type of role model. That's what you if you would do that, then like that's kind of honestly better because I mean it's not gonna be easy, of course, but it's better so you can stay yourself, but have everybody else's qualities. I'm losing my thought. Why I keep losing my thought? Like I know it's so simple to say, but I just make it harder. I don't know why, but it's like yeah, take everybody's qualities, build your own person, and um yeah yeah. I don't know, bro. I don't know why I'm losing it. I don't know why I'm losing it. It's,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's hard. I don't know why it's hard to explain.
So like
If
the
it's
old, sound like the old people that they fall asleep while telling the story. I told you that.
yeah, that's what it's feeling like. I'm not tired. It's just I don't know.
It was lost. That's fine. Because here's the thing, especially when it comes to podcasts, especially. Uh, Oftentimes you will find scripted podcasts,
Right.
right? Scripted podcasts tend to go a lot longer because they're able to go based off the scripts and then freelance out. You're
Right. Yeah.
freelancing, right? It's a freedom type of podcast. So you're speaking based off what's happening right now in your head, right? So the fact that your podcast be going 1 or 2 hours plus is amazing. All right, remember that because everything is off the dome, bro. Everything is off the dome. That's hard to do.
Yeah, that's just hard. On top of that, I just don't want to repeat myself all the time. That's why it's hard to just say it without repeating myself.
It's bound to happen because of the fact that you're gonna go back to a single point.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, this is why, and that's because this is this. Look,
Yeah.
that's basic storytelling, man.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, basically, sum it all up. To wrap this all up, make sure your role model is a person that you can see yourself to be in the next 10 years. Not just by what their actions, but their personality, how they treat people, how they treat you, and how they treat your family. So, yeah. This concludes this episode of The Importance of Role Models, the SMHM podcast. Thank you to DJ for coming up with the cape, saving the day, because I couldn't do this without another person. And I'm glad this dude came. But yeah, stay safe, stay black, and have a good night.